thing. I have to know, a lot of names almost sound the same, with no pictures.
You're all set whenever you guys want.
Now we're just going to give Jim a few more minutes.
Okay.
See if he can figure it out. Charlie, I thought was. Well, at least we got enough for a quorum.
Right.
He calls out Charlie's name. They're waiting for him. He says so.
Well, the public hearing is at 7:15. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. I don't think anybody's monitoring us as far as time. We'll give it, yeah. All right. Charlie?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
How we doing?
We're good. We got everybody on the line except Jim. Which
Okay.
I'm not sure whether Jim will figure it out. That's why I did a call only, I thought he could handle it.
Did he call in earlier about it, or?
He did not.
Yeah, it's just Jim Motelli or something. Yeah, and Jim. We have three Jims. So, did he say Jim Foss? Yeah. Is Jim Foss there?
Jim Faust resigned from the committee.
I guess he's not there then.
No, he's staying in Florida. He decided he's not coming back.
Smart man.
Yeah, really. At least they can go out to restaurants. It's probably not a good thing, but
And beaches. Okay, how many we got? We got 6 now?
we got 5, so we have a quorum. That's not a problem. I'm just hoping Jim can call in.
Now, did he get the information about the number?
Mailed it all out to him last week with the same agenda, all the information on it.
Okay.
Whether he's ever done a conference call or not, I don't know. I assumed he did at work.
I would think so too.
Oh my gosh. So, we got, who's on? Dan, Mark, Steve, who else?
We got Mark Marshall, Dan Ferraro, Steve Gatman, Mark Folsom, and you, Charlie.
Okay, good. All right. I can see I counted the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. He's probably having trouble.
Okay, you want to start it? What?
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's start it.
Okay, you want to start the recording?
It already is recording.
Oh, okay. All right, Jennifer here is my technical consultant, so if anything goes wrong, it's her fault.
Right.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Okay, so like I said, we have on the line Mark Marshall, Dan Ferraro, Steve Gatman, Mark Folsom, and Charlie Colby, Vice Chairman, to chair the meeting tonight. You want to start the public hearing by reading the notice, Charlie, or would you like me to do it?
Why don't you go ahead and read it?
Okay, the legal notice. The Summers Water Pollution Control Authority will hold a public hearing on April 7th, 2020 at 7:15 in the Summers Town Hall to set the 2021 sewer user rates for the Summersville Water Pollution Control Facility and the Maple Ridge on-site systems. Said budgets are on file in the Summers Town Clerk. At this hearing, interested persons may appear and be heard in written communication received. Dated Summers, Connecticut, this 10th day of March 2020.
Fantastic.
And that, because of the corona pandemic, this public hearing was rescheduled to tonight, May 5th at 7:15 p.m. As posted on the website.
It doesn't appear we have any people calling in.
They have the ability to do that on the same number you did. But just to go over the budget again, the Summersville 2021 draft budget is a total budget of $95,105, and with the user rate remaining the same at $265 per EDU per year.
Yes.
The Maple Ridge budget is $8,625 with a user charge of $150 per EDU, again remaining the same as last year. So there's no increase in the rates, and just a small increase in the budgets.
Okay, any opposition? Comment here? Anybody from the audience who's called in, Steve?
No, we haven't gotten any call-ins. Are there any questions about the budgets per se that weren't addressed when we went over them the first time?
None here. Nobody got any? Everybody's all set with them?
Yes, Steve Getman is good. Mark Marshall's good. Dan Farrell's good.
Okay, could
Okay.
I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Yes, you make a motion?
Mark Marshall makes the motion.
Second?
Steve Getman second.
Steve Gebben second, okay? With that,
It's 7:22.
7:20, yep, call. We'll close the hearing. Okay. And then we'll go into our
We can go into our minutes from last minutes of
last week, yep.
March 10th, 2020.
Yep.
Excuse me, this is Dan Farrell. Give me the who voted for first and second on that.
Mark Marshall voted to close the hearing, second by Steve Gatman.
Steve Getman, okay. Thank you.
Okay, Dan. Now, minutes of, what is it,
310.
310? Any omissions, corrections, apostrophes? Everybody good?
Yes, I'm okay. Mark Marshall's okay. Steve Getman's okay.
Okay, can we
Got a motion?
have a motion to accept the minutes as stated?
Mark Steve Getman, so moved.
Mark Paulson, Steve Gatman, second.
Steve first and Mark second.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Next item, Summersville, the WPCF 2021 O&M budget. Did we vote on the minutes approval or no? Yes, we did. Whoa, I'm sorry, I didn't say.
We didn't vote.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Thanks, guys. I was in a hurry. Sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. No problem.
Let's see. So now we'll go on to the Summersville budget. Do I have a motion to accept it as stated?
Mark Bonson makes the motion.
Steve, you there?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
here.
here, but-
Mark?
Which Steve?
Steve Getman.
Yes, I'm here, but Somersville, I'm going to have to abstain.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure you said that.
All right. Well,
I
we
need
still need a
a
second
motion
on the motion.
I'm sorry?
You need a second on the motion?
Yes.
Mark Folsom seconds the motion.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 All abstain.
Abstain. Steve Getman abstains.
Motion passed. Okay. Next one, Maple Ridge. Have a motion to approve the Maple Ridge budget.
Steve Getman passed a motion first to approve the Maple Ridge budget.
Okay, and the second.
Mark Folsom seconds.
Okay, Dan Farrell, you got that?
No, who was the first?
Steve Getman?
Okay, I got the. Okay, all set.
Perfect. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. All right. Moving on to the Summersville pilot project. Steve?
Okay. We finally heard back from our illustrious State Deep. In a nutshell, they are not going to allow us to use chlorine without dechlorination. They call it backsliding, whatever that is, but there's just no reasoning other than they don't allow it, which I was afraid that's where we were going to go with this. Basically, they would like us to hire a consultant to review our UV system and or come up with a plan for the chlorine with dechlorination. So much to the point is they finally gave us our draft permit that we applied for 2 years ago to renew our permit, and they actually put timetables in there for us to do this, hire a consultant and move forward with this. Basically, within 45 days of the effective date of the permit, which has to be published and so forth, we'll have to notify them of a consultant that we're going to hire. And then 90 days after we have that, we're supposed to have a report to submit to them. I wanted to talk to you guys first. I'm going to see if we can approach them to come up with our own design for dechlorination. It is going to be much more expensive. We may even have to add a second chamber to the chlorine contact chamber to do that. I'm going to have to do a little homework on it. But I want to try to see if we can at least do our own design for it and just amend what we had given them the first time with the dechlorination unit on there, and see if that will be acceptable to them instead of spending half our O&M year's budget on some consultant to come up with the same thing. The UV, as we know, we don't know what's caused the problems with that, but it seems to be an ongoing thing every time The temperatures get really warm in July and August, so I can only assume that that's not going to go away. And so far, I haven't been able to find anybody who can tell me why it's happening. But I will try. I will try to reach out to South Windsor again just to see if they can give us any guidance. I hesitate to have them come up and review our plant under the current situation, but they did extend that invitation, and certainly time to talk to them, I think, again.
All right, Steve Getman here. I have a comment. My comment is that I would like to get a legal opinion from DEEP why they are so against chlorine, and what is their justification given their chemical analysis of chlorine.
I think we would have to initiate a legal opinion on that.
Steve Getman here, and I would like to perhaps look at starting legal action against DEEP because their rationale is not logical.
Well, we got to be careful on how we handle that, Steve. I think we can get around it. I think Steve Jacobs has got a point where I think we can get around it. We kind of expected this kind of a response back, and I kind of like to go with Steve and see if he can't get your approval to do our own design. At the same time, Steve Jacobs, I think I'd like you to pursue with South Windsor. Does everybody agree with that?
No, I don't. I don't mind looking at South Windsor, but because DEP has no chemists on board, I need to get some chemistry analysis of what's going on. They only have engineers. They do not have chemists. And I would like to get a legal opinion as far as why they don't have chemists on board.
Yeah, this is Mark Marshall. I agree with what Steve is saying. They're basically giving us a verdict, but they're not giving us any substantial chemical reasons why they feel that way. I mean, what is the reason why they're not allowing chlorine in favor of UV? I mean, what is the actual reason why that's the case? And we need to know that in order to be able to proceed to move on.
Well, this is Steve Jacobs talking again. When they first responded and sent me the draft permit, my initial comment back to them was where in the TR16 guidelines, which govern how wastewater treatment plants are designed across the country, I didn't see anything in there which says dechlorination is absolutely required. It says it's up to the governing body of the state, and they should, treat each individual process different, as they see fit. But they did respond to me May 1st. I got an email. Let me read it to you, and so you'll get a gist of how they're presenting this. When I asked them where in the TR16 is this required, it says, Steve, as you know, TR16 is a document containing design guidelines for numerous wastewater treatment processes. The town's NPDES permit contains, among other things, limits on what may be discharged to the Scannick River. An underlying tenet of the NPDES permitting process is to ensure no backsliding of discharge limits occurs. Chlorine, which is a toxic chemical, was removed from the town's effluent as a result of the 2008 plant upgrade, which included UV disinfection. DEEP will not allow the town to backslide and discharge chlorine as it did in the past. The town now has two primary options for disinfection: switch to chlorination, dechlorination, or improve the UV system to provide disinfection required to meet the effluent bacterial limits. We acknowledge that trace amounts of chlorine are allowed to be discharged during chlorination-dechlorination process. In fact, it is required that a slight level of residual chlorine is detected in the plant effluent as a way of monitoring the disinfection process. Then it goes on to just talk about, the schedule that they've given to us. So he answers the question without really answering the question. Basically they're saying that they will not allow us to backslide, whatever that means.
All right, Steve Getman here. It's having listened to that you read from the deep edict there. They ordered us initially to get rid of chlorine.
Correct.
Now they're not going to allow us to go backwards whatsoever, even though it had been successful for how many years beforehand.
Absolutely. And the technology's improved significantly.
And I think we need to challenge them, even if it means going to court, to challenge them on their anti-chlorine bias.
Well, also have to keep in mind that court could cost more than dechlorination, when you get into it.
It'll probably cost less than the consultant fees.
I don't know. Lawyers get more per hour than consultants do.
Well, but again, DEEP has no chemical people on board. They have no idea what they're doing with that. All they're doing is issuing edicts, and I think we need to get more hard facts, which requires chemical analysis, and they are not doing chemical analysis. They're just throwing edicts out there, and I think we need to challenge that.
Steve Jacobs, is there any way that you can challenge them in that area through conversations or,
I think the only way you could possibly challenge them is legally. They are the authority, and they're the ones who, control our permit.
All right, Steve, so we don't want to put you in the hot seat. So if the commission decided to overrule you and go forward with some sort of legal investigation as far as why DEEP is doing what they're doing, that would take you off the hook. But it would still put DEP on the hot seat to prove why they are so anti-chlorine.
I think that's because, Steve Jacobs, correct me, but I think that's because of the improved, they have the improved technology with the UVA. I'm not sure that, I don't know. I'm torn between the two, Steve Gavin. I totally agree with what you're saying. I just don't know if that's cost worthy of trying to go that way.
Well, maybe we should look. I should ask the question about whether we can design this ourselves, and if so, we can cost it out and see what we're really looking at as far as dollars. Because a legal battle would, like I said, probably cost us more. I have no idea how much the dechlorination, would be, but I'm sure they want the same kind of redundancy they want in the chlorination system, which just adds a lot of cost. But my basic understanding of it is, you need a separate chamber, and you need to aerate the effluent after it's done to help get rid of the chemicals that dechlorinate. It really complicates things, but for the levels of chlorine we're talking about, it doesn't make a lot of common sense when you look at the numbers. And
Go ahead, Mark.
I was just wondering, I understand the concern about having South Windsor come up and look at our facility. Do you think South Windsor would be willing to share the design of their UV system?
yeah, I'm sure they would. They're the ones who really reached out to me when I talked to their town engineer, while playing golf last year. So I'm sure they would share anything they have.
If we had their design, we could compare their design to our design and maybe see something that is different, and we might want to be able to take a look at what it would cost to revise our system. I don't know. Just
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of just.
We can do without them being there.
I will ask them to, email me their design specs for the dechlorination, and we could just go with that. They're at a higher flow than we are, but the premise is the same.
Yeah.
I like that idea, Mark. That's good.
We might see something totally different that a simple revision, might solve, or they may have a piece of equipment in their design that we don't have, and we could at least get a price on what it would take to redesign it. I mean, I don't know if they're just barely in spec or whether they, they've got a system that's just consistent day after day. I don't know that, but I would like to at least compare the two designs and see if we identify an opportunity to improve our system.
Yeah,
We'll
go that
do.
way.
We'll definitely reach out to them and see if there's something that would satisfy the state and get us without spending $30,000 or $40,000 on a consultant.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it. I mean, you've got a system that is in a similar part of Connecticut, and it's a system that's working. And they've already hired, I'm sure, an engineer or a consultant to help them design their system. So why should we have to spend money on another engineering design consultant to build or revise our system when we can maybe copycat the one they have?
Okay, Steve, you can reach out then, right?
Will do. Yep. And I will double check with Geet to see if that's even an option, whether we can design it in-house with consultation with South Windsor or whoever else we can get information from.
Okay.
Steve, it's Mark Folsom here. I'd like to just add one more thing and get everyone's input on it. The timelines that Connecticut gave to us for turnaround seem awfully aggressive, given the conditions that we're working under right now in the current environment. And I'm wondering if we can go back and ask them for some leeway because of the ability to bring people in the pandemic.
That's a good point, because the permit is open for comment, so we can ask for an extension of those time frames.
I think worthwhile from my perspective, given it's taken them 2 years to get back to us, and they're giving us 90 days. To get
That's normal for them.
Yeah, I understand. So I think we can use the hammer of the pandemic here in our favor.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, that's a good point. You can try that.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's a great point there, Mark. It takes them 2 years to figure something out. They give us 90 days. I don't think that would hold up in any court of law if we were to go after them.
Actually, it's 2.5 years, because they require your application 180 days in advance. So it's been
That's right.
2.5 years, which is quick. Last time it took them 3.5 years. Probably because we stirred this up. That's why they did our review.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when Steve Jacobs earlier said about designing our own system, my first reaction would be that the state would probably not allow that. But I think taking that idea that Steve had and combining it with the South Windsor system that probably was designed by a consultant or an engineering firm, I think the combination of us working with them on this, I cannot see that they would not think that that was an acceptable way to go. So,
Okay.
You'd be surprised.
yeah, I know. I'm kind of here saying it and shaking my head saying, we'll see, right?
Right. Okay. Anybody else?
Steve Jacobs, if you can find out the specifics of how their system was designed and if they had an engineering firm or a consultant and what the name of those firms or consultants were,
Mm-hmm.
then we would have that if we need to use that information.
Yeah, if Steve goes back and gets all that, then that'll be to our advantage of trying to work with Deep on that. I agree.
And I think the fact that they have a higher volume or a lot more flow than we do,
Yeah.
I think we're better off on being on the lower side than if it was the other way around. So what's effective for them should, I would think, be effective for us.
Right. Okay. Steve Jacobs, you all set with all that?
Yeah, I will look in all that. I will also ask them if they have funding available because they reference clean water funds, but typically all those funds go to larger towns and cities because they got bigger problems. But maybe under these circumstances, they would have some funding available for us.
Okay, definitely. That's a good point. And ask them for that. Okay, and then you get everything back to us. And if you have to have a special meeting, then does everybody agree to that?
Yeah,
I'm okay. I'm okay.
special meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree to that, Sam Farrell.
Okay.
Yep.
So Steve
Agree.
Jacob.
Okay.
Okay, everybody agrees. And Steve, then go ahead and do what we talked, and if it requires a special meeting, let us know.
Okay, we'll do. It'll probably take at least a month to,
Okay.
get things, and then like I said, our timeline doesn't start till the permit is actually issued by the state, and it's got to be, a public notice has to be put out and an appeal period. It's just like everything else. It's got to go through the legal hoops. So we got at least a month or two, probably time before any clock starts ticking on us.
Okay.
So I will look into these things and hopefully we can move forward on our own without spending the money. Or if they'll give us money, I guess we'll spend some money.
Steve, this is Mark Marshall. When you talk to South Windsor, if they can share everything electronically, maybe we could take a look at this and come up with a series of questions that we have about their system, and maybe we could meet with them in a Zoom conference or something like that. If we have any questions, you might see if they'd be open to that.
Okay. We'll do.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just trying to think that we should really move on this and show the state that we're at least, we may not agree with their timetable or whatever, but this is important to us and we want to be moving on this. And if we involve South Windsor and whatever and have meetings and keep records of that, they can't say that we're just sitting doing nothing,
Agree. Definitely.
No, we've been doing a lot now. I feel like I've been spinning my wheels with what I've been doing, but
No, we're
doing well.
Don't feel that way.
No, I don't think so.
We're just going down another road, that's all.
I thought they'd at least give us an official review of our proposed project, but they wouldn't even do that. So.
Yeah. It's too easy for them just to say, no. Okay.
That's why I think we need to challenge them. They need to be challenged. They need to be challenged. I'm sorry. Bureaucrats need to be challenged.
Okay. Then how about if we let Steve go ahead and do all that we discussed and bring it up at the next meeting, and we'll see where we are. How's that, Steve Getman? Okay.
Steve Getman's good with that. Yep.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on that? Okay. I don't think we need any motions on that. How about if we move into correspondence audience participation? What do you got, Steve Jacobs?
We actually have no correspondence.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we did get an official email from Jim Faust. He had sent one to the town clerk officially resigning from the commission, but that was the only thing we had. And
Okay.
all the bills, I've been signing off on them to keep things operating. So there's been no surprising bills. They've just been the routine laboratory bills and so forth.
Okay, and no transfers?
No.
Okay. Fantastic. Any other questions or comments, guys?
Steve Getman here. Steve Jacobs, thank you for taking care of the store while we're away.
We're trying here. We couldn't do it without Jen, though.
They're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. This is
All right, thank you.
Yes, definitely, Steve. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mark Marshall makes the motion.
Okay, and a second to that?
Mark Bolton, second.
Okay, you got that, Dan Farrell?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so moved. Hey guys, this is great.
All right. We might be doing this for a little while longer.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. This might be a norm for a while. Everybody